Okay, if you live in Australia, I honestly do apologise for the lateness of this review. Don't want to go into detail about it, but here it is, guys. Finally, my review for X-Men Apocalypse. This is what all those X-Men movie reviews were for. If you didn't know, it's been a lead up for this movie. Here it is. So X-Men Apocalypse is the third installment in the unofficial First Class trilogy, I guess that's what you could call it now. The new big bad Apocalypse and Sabanur, whatever his name is, he has risen again to basically wreak havoc upon the world because he has risen in the 80s, and let's face it, the 80s isn't a good time to rise. Now we move on to the very, very new cast of actors and actresses playing characters that we've already seen before, but this is the new cast. Everyone, concerning the very new cast, everyone does an okay job. I mean, I like them. I mean, I can see that guy as Cyclops. I can see that guy as Nightcrawler. I can see... forgot the character. But I can see them as the characters that they're playing. That's what you're meant to get. That's what I got. But there is one person that for me stands out personally. I really liked her, and that is Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. I loved her as Jean Grey. I will admit though, most of the new cast in this movie had some really cheesy and really cliche introductions into the movie, especially Jean. But for me, I really warmed up to her by the end of the movie. I really liked Sophie Turner's performance. I've never seen Sophie Turner in a movie before. I don't know if I might like her as a person or if I might like her performance as Jean Grey. I just really liked Jean Grey in this movie. And of course we have Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, and talk about a complete character change. I mean, he went from being one of the most likable guys in the galaxy to being one of the most feared guys in the Marvel Universe. Like, I mean, he is a really good actor, I will say that. And I will say that because I did like Oscar Isaac's performance as Apocalypse and Sabanur in this movie. I really did. I thought it was just so fun to watch Oscar Isaac just play with the character. And it was so fun. It was just one of the enjoyable bits in this movie. Now, I will say that Apocalypse in this, how they portrayed Apocalypse in this movie, not as menacing, like he's not the big menacing villain that you'd expect from a guy that's about to end the world, but I did think he had that awesome presence, like every time a scene went to him, I didn't feel scared, and I didn't feel like, he didn't feel that menacing, but he did have that very awesome presence, if you know what I mean, where it's just like, man, shit's gonna go down, this is gonna be so much fun to watch. That's kind of what it felt like. And I really enjoyed Oscar Isaac's performance as Apocalypse, and I liked Apocalypse in this movie. So if they were going for menacing, nowhere near it. I mean, he was not menacing at all to me, but he was definitely fun to watch. Now, let's move on to the story, because the story is where it starts to fall apart. Now, let's start by, with Magneto. How they started Magneto off in this movie, I did not like. Not without spoil. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but really simply put, we kind of do get another Magneto origin in this story. And I get that, yeah, the storyline that they go for Magneto in this movie has been told in the comic books, but I honestly don't care about the fucking comic books. Can we please stop telling Magneto's origin story? We get it now. I mean, it's honestly like Batman fatigue. We get his origin story, okay? We don't need it, okay? And honestly, I didn't like where they were taking how they started Magneto off. By the end, I was like, yeah, sure, that's Magneto. But at the beginning of the film, I was like, that's not Magneto. And their parents sung it to their children, and their parents sung it to them, and their parents sung it to them. And one day, when you grow up and have kids, you'll sing it to your children too. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about with that. You know that reference. You get it? Alright? I didn't like that. No, I mean, it's not him. And concerning characters and their stories, another thing is the Horsemen in this movie. Holy crap, Magneto is the only essential one in the story. I mean, he's the only one that really does anything for the story. I mean, it could have just been like, I'm just gonna say this now, the chemistry between Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse and Michael Fassbender's Magneto, the chemistry between those two is where, concerning the villains, that's where the stuff, that's where the story is at concerning the villains. I mean, the chemistry between them is honestly the most interesting. I mean, one of the Horsemen says, okay, you can't go around saving the world by killing people. There are laws in place, systems, right? And then in the next scene that she's in, that he or she is in, almost spoiled it there. But anyway, the next moving on. But anyway, the next scene that this person is in, they are just completely with Apocalypse. Like, they don't care anymore. It's just like, I mean, did your motivations change? Where did that happen? Or did he just, is he influencing you through mental manipulation or whatever? It's like, I mean, what the hell happened? So concerning the Horsemen, motivations, not really there. Concerning the other three Horsemen, their motivations, they have no motivations for joining him. But with Magneto's motivations, you understand why he joins Apocalypse, because by this time we know why Magneto is Magneto. We know his whole story, so we know, yeah, of course he's going to join Apocalypse. So I think personally it should have just been Apocalypse and Magneto versus everyone else. Take away the other three Horsemen. Don't even put them in the film. And you know the funny thing about this, or the ironic thing, is that one of the Horsemen is Angel. And he was in another X-Men movie that was the third movie of a trilogy, and he did nothing for that movie either. It's just like, what? But this movie's biggest flaw, this movie's biggest problem, is that there is no second act in this movie. Now, if you're unclear on the definition of the three acts in a movie, so you know, the first act of a movie is the setting up of the world of the movie that you're watching. That's what the first act does. It sets up the world that you are about to observe and stuff. So it sets up the world of the movie. Or in the case of a sequel, it reestablishes things and sets up the story. Now, the second act is that story. It's the journey that the protagonist or hero of the movie goes on. It's the story. And the third act is the climax of where the big action scene happens. You've seen it in a bunch of action movies. It's the thing where the hero goes against the villain or villain, stuff like that. That's the climax. That's the third act. And again, this movie does not have a second act. I mean, it kind of does, involving someone that we didn't know was in the film, but was spoiled in the third trailer. I'm not going to say who it is, but because if you haven't seen the third trailer, then good. But we do kind of get a second act around that person. But I mean, there's no second act, and like a second act. That's the whole movie. That's like half of the movie, man. It's like, so yeah, you can see that the story and the script of this movie is where it suffers. The acting and performances, action, all good, worked out well. Even some of my favorite scenes. Because I got to talk about favourite scenes, because there's a Quicksilver scene in this. My favourite scenes were personally the opening scene, the one scene that involves Professor X, Apocalypse, and Cerebro. And I really liked that scene. I thought it was very nicely built up. It was very suspenseful, and when you sit back and look at the scope of it, you're like, holy shit, man, this guy's not joking around. And as I said, there is a Quicksilver scene. Of course, this is one of many scenes that I walked away from remembering. And let me just say, this Quicksilver scene, much more, like, just amazing than the original Quicksilver scene in X-Men Days of Future Past. Not saying that that scene was bad, I'm just saying they really did top that Quicksilver scene. This Quicksilver scene is visually stunning. I will say, just the scene in itself, it's narrative-wise, it's really, really good. I mean, I just don't know what to say. They really did top the Quicksilver scene. But overall, it's an enjoyable movie. And again, that's what a movie is meant to do. It's meant to entertain you, and it entertained me. So, problems aside, this is a very enjoyable movie. It's not as bad as The Last Stand and as bad as Origins Wolverine as some critics have been saying. I mean, people have been slamming this movie. No, it's not that bad. And at this point, I honestly think that Marvel and Disney are paying off the critics. Because this movie isn't that bad. It isn't as bad as people are depicting it to be. It's an enjoyable movie. So if you like X-Men, you're going to love this movie. If you like second acts, you're not going to love this movie. But yes, I will say go and watch it at the cinemas. Best chance you can. Anyway, please go down, like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews, trailer reactions and random videos.